Hi children, good morning. Welcome to the teleconference session today. And we have two sessions. In the morning we have English, in the afternoon we have mathematics. In the morning we have two sessions again. In the first session we discuss first paper, and in the next session we discuss second paper. And here we have three resource persons here in the studio. First I introduce them, and left to me is Vinay Dharrazu. He is a state research group member and a digital lesson presenter and classroom practitioner, and he is from Karimnagar district. And next to him is R. Kalyani. She is also the presenter of digital lessons and a classroom practitioner. She is from Manchiral district. And next to her is Lata Madhavi. And, she is the textbook writer, module writer, digital lesson presenter and classroom practitioner. She is from Sangareddy district. And here this is a very important session for you, and we give some tips to prepare well in the forthcoming examination. And here you generally, Vinay, I want to know general pattern and general instructions how to face the examination. Just would you tell us?
So, good morning children. So, our question paper consisting of 3 sections. So, out of those 3 sections, the first section is the section A, which deals with the reading comprehension. So, if you think of all the 3 sections, the first one is the very easy, I think so. Do you agree with me? Okay, let us have a look at. So, reading comprehension. Reading is the key to the learning. So, our section A consisting of 2 parts, the first paragraph and the second passage and the first passage. First passage consisting of 3 MCQs and each one carries 1 mark, total 4 marks. And again in 3 WH questions and the carries 2 marks each, total 6 marks. And the passage 2 consists of 3 MCQs and they carry 1 mark each, total 3 marks. And the comprehension questions again 2 carry 2 marks. So, the tips to score the better marks in the reading comprehension section. So, let us go through the first tip. Always remember, reading is a thinking. So, children, you know that. So, you can't do anything without thinking. So, while reading the given passage in the question paper, you have to think a lot. Then only you can answer the questions given in that particular passage. So, this is one important aspect that you have to do after taking question paper in the examination hall, that is read the given text 2 or the 3 times. It is very important. Without reading you can't answer the questions properly. Pay your attention while reading. That means you have to concentrate what you are reading. Take your reading very seriously. Read actively. Relate to characters or the events. Suppose you are reading the first paragraph, there are some incidents, events or the number of characters like that. So, you go on relating the things. What is the character? First character is related to the second character, and what is the incident that happened, and what is the turning event in the story that happens. Like that, everything you have to correlate. So, this leads to the detailed comprehension of the given passage. Interact with the text. So, simply reading is not enough to comprehend the given text. So, you have to go on questioning yourself, what are the characters in that and which character is more important, and what are the vocabulary that you find it very easy, and what are the different vocabulary that you find it difficult. So, this is how you have to interact with the given passage, so that you can comprehend the things very easily. Identify the main ideas and the supporting elements. So, while reading you have to focus on that, what are the main elements and the incidents and the events of that particular passage, and what are the supporting ideas or the elements mentioned in that passage, also very important to answer the questions. So, read the questions given at the end. Thereafter read the text again to look for the specific information. So, generally the passage is given first and then there followed by there are questions, MCQs and the WH questions. So, what you have to do first, you have to read the passage 1 or 2 times, then go through the questions given at the end of that passage, then again read the passage, so that you will look for the specific information that you want to answer those questions. This is very important aspect, you should not neglect this strategy. It is not necessary to know the meaning of the every word in the passage. Generally children, you will afraid that after reading or the going through the passage, you understand that there are the certain words that are not familiar to you. Do not bother about that, because each and every knowing the meaning of each and every word is not at all important. You just ignore those things. So, you otherwise if it is necessary to understand the meaning of those words, then you do one thing, try to guess the meanings of those words by context. So, this will definitely improve your comprehension. So, just ignore the words which are not important, if necessary guess the meaning in the context. So, read with the purpose. So, what is this purpose? So, first you read the passage 1 or 2 times without any purpose. After reading the questions given at the end of that passage, so that will create a certain purpose. What is the purpose? That the finding the answer for those questions is the purpose. So, if you read that passage 3rd time after reading that questions given at the end, then there is a purpose, definitely you will comprehend the given text. Focus on sequence of actions. So, what are their sequence of actions? So, generally the paragraph consisting of a number of passages. So, think of there is one main idea in the first paragraph and the follow up idea in the second paragraph, like that third paragraph there is another idea. So, you go on sequencing what is happening first time and what happened in the second and what happened third, like that. So, this is also found lays the base for your comprehension. And concentrate on the causes and the consequences. Suppose the paragraph is about some incidents, so there might be a reason for that, something happened in that. So, what might be the reason for that and what is the consequences of that is also very important, and this is also very important aspect of the comprehending the given text. Read quickly to get overview of the text or the general idea. So, generally while reading a passage there are 2 ways we can read. One is read quickly so that you will get the overall picture of that passage. So, what it is about and what it consisting of and what are the characters, these things you will get by reading, getting an overall and general idea of that particular passage. And the second strategy is to run through the text for a specific information. Suppose after reading the questions you want to find out some information about to answer that particular question. So, this reading will give you to find out a specific information in that particular passage. These are the tips that you have to follow to score better marks in the comprehension passage.
Okay, right. Vinay, well said. And we have 3 sections in paper 1. One is section A, totally it devotes reading comprehension. So, reading comprehension is a very important one. And here in the reading comprehension means to comprehend means to understand, you know very well. And you have to read the passage as Vinay said thoroughly first, and then understand perfectly, and then answer to the questions given below the passage perfectly and suitably. And Vinay, this first paper is totally textbook dependent.
Yeah.
And in this, how many passages are given under this reading comprehension, and what are the do's and don'ts of this section?
Okay, sir. So, as children already know that there are 2 passages, am I right? The first passage and all the 2 passages are from the text dependent. So, the first passage will come from the reading A, whereas the passage 2 will come from the reading B and the reading C. So, what are the do's and the don'ts? Let us look at the slide. So, begin the answer with your own sentence. So, while answering the question, so begin the answer with your own sentence. So, it is an evidence for the evaluator that you have understood the given question and also the passage. So, begin the sentence with your own sentence. This is the one of the mandatory criteria while answering the question. And the second one is the be specific. So, generally what children will do, no, they will write a lot of things. So, whatever the question asks, demands, so that you have to answer. While writing answer, be specific to that particular point, and your answer should be not more than 3 sentences. So, generally some children will do, they simply copy the things they write 5 sentences, 10 sentences for that. So don't do that. Only your answer must be within 2 to 3 sentences, not more than that. And concentrate on one more aspect, that there are open ended questions. So what are these open ended questions? So generally you don't find the answers to those questions in the given passage. You have to think critically and you have to analyze and you have to answer that particular question in your own sentences. So if at least every passage must consisting of one open ended questions. So keep in mind this. So first identify which is the open ended question, so that don't look for answer in that. But for answering that question, you need to comprehend the given passage. After comprehending that particular passage, you have to answer that answer in your own way. And remember that there is a no fixed answer for that open ended questions. This is also very important point. And write neatly and avoid overwritings. So while writing the answers, and write neatly and don't strike it off and all other things. Don't do all those things. Don'ts. Don't copy the text as it is from the passage. So generally children, what they will know, they will find out the keyword from the question and they will find the same answer in the passage, and they try to copy the 3 lines before that word and the 3 lines after that one. So this is not the right strategy, and in the principles of evaluation there are strict guidelines given to the teacher. If anybody copy paste the text as it is from the paragraph, that question, that answer must not be valid. So don't do that. Read the passage number of times, because there is plenty of time for us to answer the questions for English, and try to understand that and answer the question with your own sentence. This is very important. And don't write the complete paragraph. So generally there are 3 paragraphs in the passage. So children will, the first paragraph they will write as the first answer, second paragraph for the second, and the third, like that they will write. So for that also you are not going to get any marks for that. Don't do that. And another thing is that don't repeat the MCQs. So generally in the first page you will write the MCQs, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, and you try to write the same answer in a different page again with the different options. So if that is the case, the examiner is not going to value your questions then. You won't get any marks for that. So write only once. Suppose you want to change the answer, just strike it off and write again. This is the best strategy that you have to follow. And don't use the pronouns as it is, and change them whenever necessary. So there are pronouns in the paragraph. So while answering, you have to change them according to the situation. This is also very important aspect, so that the examiner will understand that you have comprehended the given passage. Answer the questions to the point. Okay. Be specific to your answer. Thank you.
Okay, right. Vinay, thank you very much. And here, this one passage comes from A reading, and second one will be from B reading or C reading. Suppose a poem is given as a reading passage, and what type of questions are asked under that?
So even under the second part of the reading section, if it is given a poem, but it is already text dependent poem, am I right? So you don't find it difficult, because all the poems you have thoroughly studied your classroom transaction. So because it is a paper one and all the passages are the text dependent only, but only thing is that they are not going to ask you the same questions that are given in the textbook. So they will focus on the different questions, because the thing is that you have already know what is the theme of that particular poem and the vocabulary and the glossary and everything. So I don't think that they find it difficult to understand, because the poems are from the text dependent only.
Sometimes figures of speech.
Sometimes they will ask the figures of speech,
mood of the poet,
and the rhyming words and all other things. So only thing is that the comprehension always requires multiple readings. You have to read the given poem number of times and go through the questions and read the poem again, and if possible again go through the questions and the read and then answer. And one more aspect I want to address, that while answering the MCQs, and think of the elimination process also. So out of those 4 sections, 4 options given, at least there are 2, they are very not related to the context or not any part related to that question. So eliminate those things first and then choose the right answer, and sometimes you can guess also, it is also possible.
Okay, right. And when I said that we should read again and again the A, B, C readings to prepare well for the next forthcoming exam. And here this reading comprehension, it carries 15 marks, 10 marks for this first passage and
second, 5 marks for the second
passage. Okay, right. And then now let us come to the section B, and under this we have test items from vocabulary and grammar, and here Kalyani madam is here to give some tips to you to prepare well. And Kalyani, say how many marks are allotted to this vocabulary and grammar, and how children should be prepared well and get good scores in examination?
So, here children, as our sir has explained you clearly regarding this comprehension, there the thing has been done well. When you read the passage again and again, you get through the vocabulary and all the parts connected to the text. This section B is of vocabulary and grammar, and it carries 3 types of questions. One is errors, the other fill in the blanks with the appropriate word, and the last one rewrite the underlined word as directed. So, let us see clearly what the basic things we have to follow to score better at this moment of going for exam.
Okay.
So, just look at the screen. So, question 13 to 17 is a editing part, it is errors. While editing, and it is totally a textbook part. So, what you have to do is you have to read the text thoroughly as you did for comprehension, and each question carries 1 mark, and the mark values a lot. So, here there is a doubt that whether we have to correct the sentence which is after the question number or before the question number. So, we must be very cautious about it. The question number will be given before the sentence to be correct, before the sentence to be corrected. So, how to score better marks and what we have to do? It is nothing, simply you just read the total text thoroughly, because it is a totally text based, and it covers all the units. There is no exemption for errors that it can be given from A or B or C. So, all the text has to be read thoroughly, and you should practice a form of words and sentence structure like subject, predicate perfectly, and you must concentrate on vocabulary and words, and as when you give a quick reading or a thorough reading, just underline the words which you feel difficult to find out the meanings and synonyms or other forms of that words. So, when coming to question number 13 to 17, there are nearly 11 types of errors we get in the exam. So, let us concentrate on those errors and how we have to practice. So, you just go through the slide. So, the first one is a word. Missing words we have to concentrate, and then excess word we have to concentrate, and sometimes we get the words in a jumbling order, the words we have to place in an order. And next one we have to concentrate the verb forms or tenses, present, past or future, whether the will, would, shall are missing and all that. Next we have to concentrate particularly on articles, a and definite and indefinite article. Then voice, okay, we have to go through the sentence whether it is in a passive form or active form. If it is in a passive form, is a agent is available or not, whether the agent is missing, object is missing, we have to concentrate that. And the most important thing, we ignore the agreements like persons or numbers. So, we have to concentrate on that too. While reading the passage, read again and again and underline the words where you feel difficult. Next, sometimes the sentence may be in a passive, indirect speech or direct speech. When it is in an indirect speech, we have to concentrate on a reported. Just look at the slide. You have to concentrate on reported verb and reporting agent, and then the cases you have to concentrate on subjective and objective forms, and sometimes possessive forms of living things like apostrophes and all that, and aspects of perfective and progressive forms. Next, we have to go for prefix and suffix, prefix and suffix of that. Finally, the most important part where we have to concentrate, and generally we get more, is prepositions. So, concentrating on prepositions and practicing the prepositions while reading the passage is very important. But now at this last hour, is it possible to read all the 19 passages again and again? So, in the exam hall, what I have to do? Have to score the better. So, we will say a simple exercise for that. Just here is a sentence on the screen. Concentrate on the sentence. Say, I have taken a sentence. The new teacher could not stomach a priest's Hindu son sitting with a Muslim boy. Generally, if you concentrate, if you have gone through the text thoroughly, there is no problem. You will find out the mistake directly. But have to find it. Just divide it. And the subject, predicate form, and see here there is a division. The new English, the new teacher has been divided. It is a subject, there is no error in the subject, everything is fine. Now, next let us go to the verb form, that is predicate, could not stomach. Can we find any mistake? If you go through the earlier passage, there it is in passive form, past tense, so we will get the same, could. So, there is no mistake in it. Now, just observe the screen. Here a priest's son, a priest's Hindu son has been given. Is there any, when we go through that part again and again, a priest's Hindu son, there is a difference. Hindu priest's son or priest Hindu son, there is a difference. So, if you concentrate that part and next you concentrate the remaining part, you can find out the error. This is a little bit simple process to get a error correction. So, now when we go to second part of this section B, it is fill in the blanks with the appropriate words. Let us see the tips how we have to go for that on the screen. Please just look at the screen. Here it is from question number 18 to 22. It is purely fill in the blanks with the words given in the box, that is all. And each question carries half mark, that is all. You have to concentrate. We will get 5 questions and totally it is 2.5 questions. Okay. Then where we have to concentrate when we practice this is, just as we did for the comprehensive questions, thorough reading of the text A, B and C is very important. And look at the points on the screen what we have to go through. Concentrate on the form of words like a noun form or adjective form or that particular word, or prefixes and suffixes to be placed to it. That helps you to fill the blanks well. And one more tip what we have to use here is, when you are not able to identify the right word, you just adopt the elimination method as said in a multiple choice. What you have to do is substitute the word and concentrate on form of the word apt to the sentence or not. It's only a tip to get the answer. You may not get the correct answer, but there is a possibility to get the answer when you are not sure about the answer. Some way you can score something. And here this is the part, section B is the part where you can score more as well as you can lose a lot of marks. So, you need a lot of concentration that you will do well while practicing for the comprehensives, and for this you need individual attention on vocabulary part. Now, next the last part is question 23 to 27. Rewrite the underlined words as direct, and here each question carries Each question carries half mark as usual, and 5 questions will be given. It's totally 2.5 questions. So, have to get a better score in this. You have to concentrate on glossary. Glossary has to be practiced well immediately after reading the passage. But now at this moment, we cannot do all that for all 19 passages exercises. So, we have to concentrate on particular parts like synonyms. Look at the screen here, synonyms, antonyms and right form of words. Thorough reading of the text ABC is the exercise what we require. So, let us see some tips to score better in this exam, like say this is a objective for type of question. So, you have to answer in a sequence, in a serial order. Put all the question numbers and just put the question number and just write only the answer, do not repeat the total sentence. But in case of error sentences, you rewrite the total sentence and underline the error where you have corrected. అంటే ఆ సెంటెన్స్ ఎర్రర్ సెంటెన్స్ని టోటల్గా రాసేసి ఆ ఎర్రర్ లేకుండా రాసి ఆ ఎర్రర్ పార్ట్ ఎక్కడైతే కరెక్షన్ చేసామో దాన్ని అండర్లైన్ చేయాలి. అయితే ఇక్కడ ఒక డౌట్, ఎలిమినేషన్ చేసేసాం అంటే వర్డ్ ఎలిమినేషన్ అన్నాము, టు అనే వర్డ్ ఎక్స్ట్రా వర్డ్ ఇచ్చారు, సో అది తీసేసాను. సో నేను ఎక్కడ అండర్లైన్ చేయాలి, అదొక పెద్ద డౌట్. సో వాట్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు డూ ఈజ్ యూ హ్యావ్ ఎలిమినేటెడ్ టు దేర్, జస్ట్ లీవ్ అ లిటిల్ బిట్ స్పేస్ అండ్ అండర్లైన్ దట్ పార్ట్ టు షో దట్ యూ హ్యావ్ ఎలిమినేటెడ్ దట్ వర్డ్ as it is an excess word. That's all. If you have corrected the form of word or jumbled the word, underline that part. That's fine. The evaluator can get an idea of the answer. That is important. And next, here how to score better in this right form of words and all that, you have to revise at this moment. You have to revise the root word and their usage in different parts of speech to answer this vocabulary part perfectly. And whereas the last part, rewrite as directed, you have to revise synonyms and antonyms also. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Kalyani.
Thanks.
And here this the section C, it's a very crucial one, and this is totally devoted to discourses, and it's come under creative writing. Lata is here to tell us about these things in detail, and here there are 2 questions under this, question number 28 and question number 29. 28 is from major discourses and 29 from minor discourses. And tell me, how can we write the answer to these questions, and is there any choice, internal choice under this section? Lata.
Yes, sir. Actually, as you said, the question number 28 has a choice where as these discourses are totally text dependent, so it is related to the text, but you won't get any direct question from the text, and it is an extension of the text. The question may be in such a way that you might have the different types of discourses covered in paper 1 are story writing or narrative, and conversation, description, and drama or script for play, and also interview. So these are the major discourses, and these carries around, and the last but not the least is choreography, and these are the discourses which are carrying about 10 marks. So on this and how this 10 marks can be attained. Most of our children has an illusion that though we write better, we don't get 10 marks. So how the children make a little small mistakes which they feel that it is very perfect, but how can they make it best and much better? Let us see now. We'll go through discourse wise, and the first one is how to score good marks, 10 out of 10 for this, and you can go for choice which one is easier for you, and how to present it is more important in this area. And you need not by heart anything, or you need not learn, or you don't get the variety anywhere, and it is your own version actually. So let us see how the narrative or story is presented, and maybe all must be very well aware of these features of the story. Let us look at the slide once again, where it shows the features. So the narrative or the story should have characters, dialogues, description, and title of the story, and events. This you all know very well, children, but how the story is presented, let me tell you. You can look at the screen now, where you have a small story, a dove and an ant. A dove and an ant lived in a tree near a pond. One day the ant fell into the pond, it could not swim. The dove saw it, she dropped a leaf near the ant. The ant stepped on the leaf and reached the bank. The ant thanked the dove. This is also a story, and it can be presented in this way also. But when you look at it, you might not be awarded 10 points, children. So how to get 10 points? So where the story is complete and the characters are there, the location is there, everything is there, but the presentation part is not proper. So let us see how it can be presented in a better way. So on the wayside there is a pond. What a big pond, and how many water lilies, white lilies, red lilies, big green lilies. How beautiful the pond is. The pond is full of water. Of course, it's a clear water, like a mirror. You can see your face on it. There is a tree growing near the pond, a mango tree, not a big one, not a small one too. It has several branches. Most of the branches, after bending over the pond, a fresh smell flow out from them. Ah, what a smell! Now there are no mangoes on it, but only flowers. Bunch of flowers, not one but many. See, children, now the way the story is presented, and he is also saying that the pond is there, and beside that a tree is there, and the tree had many branches, and all the branches are bending onto the pond. So how he is connecting the story? So the leaf, the dove has to drop the leaf. So how it can drop? So if the tree is very far away, when you write the earlier story, how it was, there is a tree beside the pond, we said, but to how much distance and what it is, we can't imagine. So this picturization, so when imaginary thought is given a verbal form, so it is bending, that means the leaves there are many leaves on the branch, and the branches are bending onto the pond. So when it can easily drop a leaf from that. So that should be the reflection, like the way you present it should show a picture to the person who reads it. That is more important. And how he is bringing out, see, the connectivity. So maybe the third or fourth event will have a leaf dropping into the water, but the connection is given in the first paragraph. So whatever character or whatever area or whatever location the whole story carries should be introduced in the beginning, maybe in a word or in a sentence. That's more important. That connectivity is necessary. That is what we meant. So this type of connection and this type of presentation may award you 10 out of 10. So this is about the story. Next we have the other features of the, just go to the before slide, sir. Now look at the dialogues. So on that tree lived a family of ants, a mother ant, father, and their little children. Father ant said, I will go to the top branch and try to get some honey from the flowers. I don't think it is safe enough to go there, said the mother ant. Let us all go together, said the father ant. While climbing the branch, while climbing the branch, one of the little ant fell into the water. So this connectivity, so I didn't suddenly say the ant fell into the water. in the first paragraph, if I say there was an ant and a dove living on a tree, as I told you, I showed you the first slide, the story. So that way, the path you have to bring, or the movie or the picturization should be so specifically done that he should be able to visualize it. Though it is in the form of text, it should be like a picture in front of him. That is more important, children. So keep in mind whenever you write the story that all the features are covered, but at the same time the presentation is done. So it takes the examiner to a different world, because as we all know, English is something related to literature and it should create an image. And let us go for the next discourse, and how the descriptive language is used in these stories. So whenever you go for description, like it should bring out the sensory perceptions, as I have told, the smell, what is smell and what is sweet smell, and what can be heard and what can be seen, and as I have mentioned, flowers, bunch of flowers. So that bunch is going to award you marks for vocabulary, and the flowers which is related is going to award you for the event. It is like that the marks are being divided, children. So when you use that, many flowers also can be used, but the bunch of flowers gives you award you marks for the vocabulary. So as you all know, there are marks divided, and 2 marks are divided for the events, and 2 marks for the settings and the sensory perceptions, as I told, the water lilies and what beautiful lilies, all those things, and expressing emotions, as I told you, what a sweet smell. So that expression of emotion is also having marks, children, and that carries 2 marks, and your grammar carries 1 mark, and your vocabulary carries 1 mark. As I told you, bunch of flowers and many flowers, it's one and the same, but the presentation is more important. So you have you're allotted 1 mark for such sort of words, usage of those words, and also your coherence, like how you link up the story and how you link up sentence to sentence and how you link up the event to event is also having marks, children, and it is carrying 1 mark. So if your connectivity is not in a proper way, they might detect marks, and if your grammatical the sentences are not presented in a proper form using the good vocabulary, you also may be detected marks. So we feel that we have written the best story, but how best, only the examiner can judge. So be careful, children, and present it in a better way. So let us go to the next discourse, and that is description. I think I have discussed almost all the things in the story itself, but the thing is you have to be more careful, and just like let us look at the slide now. What are the things to be described in the description? And describing the place, so location, images and sensory perceptions, and describing the events and where it has happened, what has happened, and who has been involved in that, and in the same way, and the details of the scene and the images that you can create and the sensory perceptions, and describing a person, his physical attributes, social status, and what are his achievements and all, and in the same way describing a process. So how the ant fell into the water while climbing the tree is a process. So this is how you also give the process. So these are the things you have to keep in mind when you are writing the description, children. And now let us go for the play script. I would like to take a time for this, where the play script has dialogues, stage directions, enter and exit information, expression should be written in brackets, selection of characters and plot. So let us go for the next slide, sir. So when you see this example, children, now you can see here Karthik, a second year pupil, comes and pushes Ramya. So this is the entrance dialogue. So definitely when you are writing the play script, the entrance should be given, and you can see angrily, what do you think, angrily in brackets, and what do you think you are doing. So when I read this in this way, it's not right. I should that sentence should be read it in this way. What do you think you are doing? So this should be told in a higher voice and with full force. So that angrily word suggests that this dialogue should be spoken in this way. So the play script is written for some others to enact it. So keep in mind that. So what is the expression the person or the actor should give is to be given. So until and unless you don't write the action in a bracket, the sentence whatever you have written or the dialogue whatever you have written will go plain. So where the emotional expression is needed is only given through this word angrily. And you can see the punctuation also, children. Just look at it. Oh sorry, did I hurt you? So actually most of the children, when I saw the scripts, you people write oh with an exclamatory mark. So of course it's an expression, but all expressions don't have exclamatory mark, because here something has gone wrong and she's feeling sorry for it. So the punctuation shouldn't be exclamatory, because exclamatory is used only for excitement and something surprising or shocking, but not for every O or every R. And you can see, so O is done with a comma there, and then sorry, did I hurt you, a question mark. So that small comma or exclamatory itself may detect marks for you. So be careful when you're using the punctuation, and what emotional feeling the context is really demanding. According to that, the punctuation should be taken into consideration. When you go for the last line also, see children, he grabs Ramya's lunch box and runs off. So that is the exit dialogue, and you can see, hey you, come back. So the exclamatory, most of them use it, hey you also you use exclamatory, and come back also you use exclamatory. But why we have used comma is that whole thing is set at a stretch, and it's not like a pause is given, but it is a continuous one. That is the thing why we have to take hey you, come back, and then exclamatory, children. So this is how you go. And the interview, children, here I have not got anything to tell you because you know much better. And one thing I would like to stress is you are going to do an interview of the celebrities. So you, most of us, most of the children, when you are writing it, you ask what is your name, which is actually at that point of juncture is not necessary. He is already a celebrity and he is known by many of us, and now you can't just ask what is your name. It's like almost insulting that person. So please don't do that, children. And if it is a job interview, then definitely you can write what is your name, but not interviewing a celebrity. And one more thing, your questions should be in specific, not to one answer, children, but it should be at least 2 lines or 3 lines. Like you can't just ask, how are you feeling after receiving a gold medal, Sindhu? So she'll say obviously happy, which is only one word. So what is the hard work which has helped you to gain this silver medal? So if the question is asked in such way, then you can get at least 1 or 2 lines of answer, because you are the person who have to write the question and the answer also. So keep in mind, if you are unable to frame the question, first frame the answer and then write the question, children, which you can do in your rough work. And not only this, children, and one more tip I would like to give here is, so whenever we are writing this discourses, first straight away don't go into the answer sheet and start writing the discourse, because you have to first map your ideas, which is very, very important. So you go to the last pages, where the last 2 pages can be used as your rough work sheets. You can just put the heading on as rough and take the mind map, whatever discourse you are getting, take the mind map of it. First read the question carefully, and as soon as he says read the story, and then maybe he might ask at the end, change it into a drama script. So as soon as you see that read the story and the story doesn't have an ending, he gives you only one scene of it, and as soon as you see read the story, you don't imagine yourself and give the conclusion for the story. Please don't do that mistake, children. Read the question completely, understand it, mind map it, and then only go for writing in the main paper. And last but not the least, choreography script. This you are very well acquainted with it, because in the first year you had very much difficulty. Now it is the most easiest discourse, and every poem you are already prepared with a discourse. If this is coming in the exam, you be sure that you will be awarded 10 marks. So, here are the features of it: name of the poem, identifying the theme of the poem, which you have already done, and identifying stanza wise theme, identifying the actions, deciding the location, deciding the settings, characters involved in it, and sequencing the actions. So, this is how we go with all the discourses, sir.
Okay, Lata, thank you very much. You give very valuable suggestions to the children. And let us come to the question number 29 and just be brief and
Yes.
here minor discourses.
Yes, sir.
What do you want to say?
So, there are three minor discourses, sir. Children, I think you all know very well. Notice the name of the organization should be written. It may be a school or an institution or whatsoever it is, and then the notice. Let us look at the slide. The title, notice, a heading to introduce the subject of the notice. And children, I have gone through many scripts. Mostly our Telugu medium students, whoever are studying, they write the notice which is already there in the paper. Children, only thing is you have to change. Imagine yourself as a secretary. Please children, when you are writing the answer, you don't copy that. Most of our children are copying even that. Imagine yourself as a secretary of sports club, and then that same thing is carried over. That should come at the end, children. Please don't write that. Imagine yourself, avoid it. The other all information, you can just take it and put it in your answer sheet. And this is, be careful children, this is only for the slow learners I am helping you out. The other children, put your own ideas and write in your own way so that you can score more better marks. And next is message. Message is definitely the most easiest one. This also has the total information in the question itself, and you have to only say to whom it is addressed. You have to write on the left hand side of the corner, and then whoever is giving the information should be, their signature should be at the right hand side corner down, and there you need not write your name, children. You can just put into marks, or you can put your hall ticket number. So, this is about the message. And the last one is, a diary. So, diary, please keep in mind children, dear diary, if you write or if you don't write, it does not matter. You can start the diary writing, but in that your emotional feelings and your personal criticism or introspection. Suppose you wanted to write, I really felt like hitting him, or I really felt like slapping him. This also can be written in your diary, because it is not read by any others. The way you feel, I really felt pity about him, I felt like hugging him and consoling him. All these type of things you can add into it, children, so that the diary is something which is personal, and it should be introspective and purely criticism wise, or whatever you want to express, you are free enough to express with emotional feeling. That is more important, children.
Okay. Thank you, Lata. So, children, keep these valuable suggestions in your mind and prepare well for your examination. And here we have come to an end of this session, and in a short while from now we will meet again. And in the next session we will have question answer session also. Just meanwhile you jot down some questions in your notebooks and ask in the next session, and we will be able to answer to those questions. And we also discuss the second paper in detail. And don't go away, children. Bye. Okay, right.